Hey, so my name is Simon Scriver in Ireland, and the donor love experience I want to talk about is from Plan. Plan is a child sponsorship charity who's quite big in Ireland and the UK. I don't know about North America, but my dad sponsored a child through Plan for years, maybe since I was a kid, and a few years ago, my dad got leukemia and he died, and horribly awful thing which has just destroyed my life. But for my mom, and again, terrible thing. But one of the positives of your spouse dying is that you can then cancel all the shit that they signed up to that you have no interest in. So my mom cancelled some of his charity, his regular charity donations, including this sponsorship, this child sponsorship. And they sent out this email and this letter afterwards, offering their condolences and talking about the child that he'd most recently sponsored, and saying thank you and what a huge difference he's made, and wishing my family the best and all this. But my mom took that letter, and she, it meant, and it didn't mean massively to her, but it meant enough to her that she started showing it to, people, including me, and it gave me such a positive feeling about Plan that subliminally I still hold them in really high regard purely because of that letter, I think. But my sister went on to actually sponsor a child, and she sponsored a child through Plan, and I think a huge part of it was the that offering that they had given at that time. And I think we talk about looking after donors, right, looking after donors till death, but I think there's actually something more than that. There's this thing beyond the legacy where you can we forget that donors actually take things and show them around to people. So when we mail, especially older people, physical things, they take them and they show them to their friends and they show them to their family if it means enough to them. And I think there's a really strong impact we can have there if we remember that, if it's not just about that you and the donor, it means enough to them that they then spread the word. And I think that's that was an amazing tiny thing that they could have done really badly or just done kind of really generically, but instead it was personalized, and it meant enough that it actually had this knock-on effect where it's they probably can't even see this record of it, but it's actually generated them more income. And there was some really interesting stats that Ask Direct and Blue Frog did, where they tested these in memoriam donations and things like that, and they found that it was something like 50% of charities didn't send any thank you, and some of the thank yous were real generic thank yous. They weren't actually acknowledging that this was an in-memory gift and talking about the person's memory and talking about that kind of angle. I guess they just they didn't see the importance of it. But that is important. I mean, we know that in donor love, the importance of donor love is it lasts a lifetime and beyond with that individual. But actually, I think it's bigger than that. It has this spider web effect where it goes out to all these people surrounding them, and that's a huge thing. And so I think we have to remember that people, especially older people, when you go see your mom or your grandmother, they have all those newspaper clippings of stuff you're just not interested in, or sometimes you are, but this can be part of that. Good communications can actually be passed around and can have this positive knock-on effect if we do it well enough. And I think that Plan story was a big thing for me. I think it didn't necessarily convert my mom to a donor. I don't know if they're still communicating with her, but maybe they are. They probably should be. But it converted my sister into a donor who could then be a lifelong donor, who could then spread that. It had an impact on me. I don't know who else my mom showed the letter to, but it had an impact on. And I really have to try and get a copy of that letter from Plan.